What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, PackersNews.com with Ryan Wood of the Green Bay Press-Gazette. Ryan, the Packers back on the practice field, getting Nick Perry back off the physically unable to perform list. But the talk of the town has got to be one of his backups in Reggie Gilbert, coming off a 2.5 sack performance. Now with Perry back in the mix, Clay Matthews obviously the stalwart there. How do you see Gilbert's playing time being affected, or what kind of plan do you think they have to get Gilbert on the field?
It's going to be really interesting. Nick Perry talked about finding the fine balance between having a rhythm and being on the field, and obviously staying fresh and avoiding the attrition of the season and being off the field. It sure looks like Reggie Gilbert has given them, at least, if nothing else, the potential of a three-man rotation at outside linebacker. Ideally they'd want more than that. I think ideally at minimum they'd want four guys that they can rotate in there. Whether they have four guys right now remains to be seen. But Reggie Gilbert has he's produced enough to give the Packers some hope that he could do that in the regular season, and it won't be just Clay Matthews and Nick Perry all the time. The question really becomes what is the right balance, and that's something the Packers are going to have to determine going forward. There's some schematic themes, of course, that they can do to maybe limit the number of in the rotation if they don't have the four that they ideally want there. But yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see where they strike that balance in the regular season.
What do you think about Gilbert's prospects long term, especially with Clay Matthews heading into the last year of his contract?
I think that he's a guy that fits their scheme really well. Reggie Gilbert, if you remember, going back a couple years when he came out from Arizona, he had to learn to play standing up. He had to learn to play without the 3 point stance. What was really interesting about his 2.5 sacks against the Steelers was that each of those sacks came from the 2 point stance. It kind of showed how far he's come. When you look at what they like to do schematically, Reggie Gilbert is the type of guy that he's got the size and the background that he could play that elephant and maybe put his hand on the ground in the nickel situations. Now, as far as Clay Matthews, he did say that his agents have had discussions with the Packers about a contract extension, contract talks with the Packers today. Obviously, all contract news is going to be kind of put on the back burner until they get something done with Aaron Rodgers. He's clearly the priority right now. I think a big question is it's been since 2014 since Clay Matthews has had double-digit sacks in the season. He's shown positional versatility, and some of those sacks have been taken away from him because he probably is their best inside linebacker right now. But being paid like an elite pass rusher from the edge, which that's where the money is, he hasn't shown that much in recent years. So I really would be surprised. I don't see anything getting done before the season with Clay Matthews, though there have been some exploratory talks. For Clay Matthews going into this final year of his deal, he needs to get back to that double-digit sack level. He needs to get back to the level where he can point to the production and say, see, this is elite edge rusher potential and production that you're going to be paying for. Until he does that, I certainly think that this could carry into the spring.
There you go. All the latest from Lambeau Field. Make sure you're checking PackersNews.com. For Ryan, I'm Aaron. We'll talk to you soon.